Welcome to the Super Chunky Podcast with your hosts, Christy and Bert. Today is April 29th, 2018, and this is episode 3. Hello, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we jump into the episode, I wanted to take a moment and explain what you're about to hear. A few weeks ago, we received the news that our home-based local yarn store would be closing. Our plan was to record a few episodes from there, and with this recent news, we figured we better at least record one episode on location while we have the chance. So in this episode, you'll be hearing our previously recorded session from the yarn store on Friday, April 20th. I apologize in advance on the sound quality. You will hear some conversations and noises in the background and the occasional fellow crafter chiming in on our conversation. At times, we had to stop recording and wait a bit and start recording again, so some of our conversation feels a bit abrupt and disjointed. We've put some transition bumper music in those spots. We were a little worried that we might not have enough content for an episode, so we also recorded our conversation from our car ride on Saturday, April 21st, while Christy and I drove around for the inaugural National Local Yarn Store Day. We talk about the few shops we hit and other random topics while traveling in the car. Again, we apologize for the audio quality. You will hear background road and engine noises. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to another episode in a couple of weeks. Guess how much of that we did not get?
Any of it? Oh, man.
So what you drinking?
So I'm drinking some tea from Adagio's Teas. It's from a fan-created set about My Little Pony. There's one for each of the main 6, and I'm drinking the one that's named for Rarity, which I haven't tasted it yet, but it smells delicious. But it's still a little hot.
It sounds delicious. I am drinking my Hawaiian Earl Grey from Tea Lyra. And it has luxury black tea leaves, bergamot oil, coconut, and pineapple. It's got a nice little twist to it. And they're on Amazon, but you can also go straight to their website, which I like a little better because you can see it'll tell you how bold the caffeine is in it. And you can just see the picture. But there's so many to choose from, like hundreds. It is so hard to narrow down, and you're like, okay, I want them all. So we didn't. We did, and then we didn't talk about the weather on our lovely blizzard in Minnesota.
Yeah, last weekend was interesting. I was pretty much prepared that I didn't have anything I needed to do, so I just kind of made sure I had enough groceries to get through the weekend. And
why do you need the keys again?
Because we put stuff in the car, but then we realized our house keys in the car. But we did eat McDonald's.
It's my children for you.
Having fun.
Yes, they are. Love you. I'm just going to leave it here, really.
If we had known you were going to McDonald's.
Right.
Man.
So you basically just hunkered down.
I did. I made sure I had enough food to get through the weekend and kind of stayed in and got a lot of knitting done.
Blissfully tried to be unaware and still go on my trip to Sioux Falls, which was good, but I should have left early. I should have left Friday night because Saturday was a waste being stuck in the hotel all day.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping as the week was going on that I'm like, okay, maybe it won't be so bad. You know, they're wrong from time to time. Maybe we'll be able to do something.
Yeah.
No. Not at all. I mean, the wind was crazy over there. Just straight across. Yeah, it was insane. So what are you working on now?
Right now I'm working on Easy, which I was working on a couple of weeks ago. Scarf by Martina Bain. But I've been also working on a scarf called the Secret Beach Diagonal Scarf that I started working on some time ago and kind of pulled out to get back to working on because it's a cotton yarn that it'd be nice to have that for spring and summer. Of course, I thought that last year. But yeah, and I've been finishing up a couple of things. I finished, what was that thing called? Oh, the In the Meantime cowl that was from a kit I bought at Shepherd's Harvest that we'll talk about sometime. A couple of years ago that I started knitting in December, kind of set aside because I don't know, I easily get distracted from one project to the next. And I was looking for some needles.
And by your surroundings.
Yes, also true. I was looking for some needles, and so I was going through my different project bags, and I came across this cowl and thought, I'm not going anywhere this weekend. I can finish this cowl, and I did. So, and it's one that doesn't really need to be blocked, so it's done. And I got to wear it one day this week because it was still cold. So it's a worsted weight cowl that is just lovely for wearing in the winter. And I finished the 2 Harbors poncho that I started knitting quite some time ago, and all I had left was the collar, but it got annoying spinning the poncho around to knit the tiny little collar at the top. So I kind of put it in timeout, but I pulled that out and I did those last 7 rounds of the collar.
I love that you put them in timeout.
Right.
Bad yarn.
Sometimes by accident and sometimes on purpose. So I got that done. So now I just need to weave in a bunch of ends and block it, and then I can wear it. That might be nice to have this spring too. Mm-hmm. It's also a worsted weight yarn out of Blue Sky Fibers Extra, which is delicious. And I found the needles that I was looking for attached to the Dolce Baby Blanket by Melissa Wheatman that I started about a year ago when it was released in Clues. And I got all the way to Clue 6, but it was the end of May and it was getting too hot in my house to work on a big baby blanket that was sitting on my lap. So I kind of put that in timeout, but I wanted the needles. So I started working on that and decided that I'm going to do the Clue 7. That was just the only clue that I hadn't done yet at all, is just the edging, and it's a edging that you knit and then sew on. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do a crochet edging instead. So I just need to decide. Yeah, I have to decide. I mean, the knit edging is beautiful, but I would never get the sewing done because I just don't enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So,
well, that's your own spin on it now.
Right, exactly. So, but it'll be nice to have that done. I don't know where I'm going to block that because that thing is huge.
Right.
But yeah, I've been kind of working on some old projects before I maybe start diving into knitting some of those shop hop projects that we recently acquired.
I couldn't wait. That's what I'm working on right now is the Doctor Who cowl, or the Doctor is in cowl. The colors were calling me. I'm like, okay, I really want to play with this.
Yeah.
So I started that on my trip to Sioux Falls. Actually, I think did I start it on the car way down? I might have at the very end, tail end. But I did. I finished, I'm almost done with my scoreboard cowl, the last one that I have to make, except that I ran out of yarn.
Oh.
I had to get some today. I was really tempted to just use a different red in my stash, but they were 2 totally different. I'm like, okay, I really can't do that.
Yeah.
This isn't for me. If it was for me, maybe.
Maybe.
So that, and then I did start a little bit of my the Wonder Woman gauntlet ones from the Shop Hop 2. I wrote down 2 patterns, but I don't remember why. Fading Point and Shoreline Beanie.
So Fading Point, is that the new
I think they were in a hot... Locatelli? Were you looking at the hot list too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were. And I was like, ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up so I can remember what it looked like.
And it was one of hers that I bought a bunch of yarn for at Shepherd's Harvest last year. I might have to see if I can use it for this Fading Point instead, because that's also really pretty.
Mm-hmm. And the Shoreline Beanie I like because it's got that, it looks like it's mainly like a reverse stockinette. Is that a thing? Mm-hmm. Where it's the pearl side or the bump side? Yeah. Yep. But then it's got the waves in the normal stockinette, and so it's kind of this nice texture. It reminds me a lot of like the wind sheath. Oh,
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I was like, okay.
I never wear hats, but I like knitting them.
Right, right. And then, so I was messaging my son who's in college and his girlfriend. I told him for the next thing I wanted to talk about was, I don't remember how I stumbled upon it, but I stumbled upon vintage military knitwear and different patterns. And you can get them at thevintageknittinglady.co.uk. As well as the gloves for servicemen, the Navy watch cap, and the balaclava from the American Red Cross. Mm-hmm. Their old stuff. So I was telling my son, I'm like, I'm going to knit you a balaclava. And he's like, cool, I would totally wear that in the winter when I'm doing so, because he'll be doing construction. And he was so excited, but his girlfriend said, ew, no, you're never wearing that, because she doesn't think it looks, nice. So I told her, that's it. I'm going to knit her a hot pink one now. And she's like, no, I'm not going to wear it. So instead, I was hunting around. I'm like, I'll attach a unicorn horn to it for you. And she's like, no. But I did, when I was hunting for a unicorn horn, I did find a unicorn hat that I'm going to have to make. It's got the ear flaps with the little braided whatevers, and then it's actually got a mane of rainbow hair. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to make that. Probably
reminds
for me
me a little
too.
bit of Rainbow Dash, except Rainbow Dash is not a unicorn.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to find that one. And we'll link all these in the show notes. But yeah, I really like though the being able to do the vintage military knitwear stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know what I just did when I was knitting, and I don't know if this is a real stitch if I actually did it, or if I just goofed it and accidentally unstitched a stitch now. Because it's one of those ones where you do your knit 3 border, knit 2 together, go to the end, make one to make up the stitch you knit 2 together, and then do your border again. And I don't know what I just did.
Okay, I am now horrified about doing that pattern because of all those ends I'm seeing.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
Oh God, I do not enjoy weaving in ends.
Do you want me to weave them in for you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, if I do them as I go, it's a little less painful, so I might have to just stop every once in a while and do them. That's what I did for that striped hat.
This is the Dr. Zen cowl from Twisted Loop during the shop hop. Yeah. And there's more colors that go with it, and yeah, just the way they did it turned out really nice.
I'm going to look up the hat that I made that it had tons of ends, and that's basically what I had to do while I was working on that is just stop every once in a while and weave some in so that I didn't have them all to do at the end because that was just not going to happen.
Right.
It's a kit. Here it is. The 21 color slouch using Blue Sky Fibers wool stock. Oh, did you? Yeah. I mean, I love it. I still have to block it because it needs to relax a little bit. But, yeah, I was really glad that I weaved in ends. Every few rows I would stop and weave some in because there was still a lot at the end. But
about 3 weeks to weave them in.
Yeah.
I did a few.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Well, that's like this Two Harbors poncho that I recently finished. It has not tons, not like that hat, but still quite a few scattered, throughout. And so I'm just going to try to tackle a few a day and get it done. Sometimes if I sit down and decide, I'm just going to do like 3, then sometimes I'll just finish and be done. But
we should also mention why we're recording in the shop today.
Well, because we like hanging out here.
Well, there's that.
But also, our time is limited.
Yes.
Our opportunities are diminishing.
Right. Because we always wanted to record here, but this will probably be the first time we record here and possibly the last time we record here.
Possibly so.
Our shop is closing.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I got the news while I was in Sioux Falls, and it was during the blizzard Saturday, and I just kind of sat there stunned the entire day. I think it was Saturday, or was it Friday? When did you message me?
I made you read that right away on Wednesday night.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It was
Wednesday night?
Yes.
Why did I think it was?
Because I knew you were out of town, but I wanted to make sure that you saw it before anybody started talking about it.
Right. Oh, why did I think it was Saturday? Maybe just because I was just already so gloomy.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so. But yeah, because Thursday was when everything started being on.
I must have. I must have.
Blocking it. Well, and you couldn't come, because you were out of town, you couldn't come to the shop for right away either.
Right.
Like, so I couldn't come Thursday, but I came on Friday to kind of maybe get some opportunities to get some things on sale and use up my store credit that I'd earned.
Right.
It's going to mean a change in stuff, and we come almost every other Friday when I have the day off of work to come hang out here, and so it's kind of a change in lifestyle as well as the community ends up. We do what we can to stay together, but yeah, Yarn Shop is more than just a shop; it's a community, and you make friends and have a place where you can always just kind of pop in and sit and knit for a little while. Yep. Get out of your house and whatever. So yeah, it's always sad. We've gone through this before, but
right. I ended up not going to any other shop, really. I
didn't really either. I would go. There's one that's it's one of the shop hop yarns shops that's not too far away from here.